in the field of North-South relationships. I am mainly carrying out assessment, project assessment and evaluation, which means that I'm also part of this industry project cycle, EU project cycle. My background is in activism in the field of environment and development as well as anti-development. I met Vijayji maybe 1988 for the first time and Vijayji a year later, I think, so with a long history with all of these people and organizations. I was around when Siemenpuu Foundation was established, but I'm not Siemenpuu. My reason for being here is that Siemenpuu has, and SADET have commissioned this self-assessment process, where part of the team you now know, and I'm the only one in the evaluation team who is a complete outsider, because I don't work for Siemenpuu, nor am I part of its voluntary and activist groups, nor am I part of SADET. I'm in simply because they know that I'm mainly evaluating projects and cooperation carried out by NGOs and activist groups, and much less in like bilateral development cooperation and firms. So I know the questions and topics in this field. So I may not be so acquainted with all the local issues and internal issues, but I consider myself mainly as some sort of a methodological aid in this team. I'm also, might be nice for you to know that I'm also an Ashtanga yoga practitioner and an Ashtanga yoga instructor in Finland, and I've been studying some Ayurveda, pretty much about the traditional treatments and cures. And it might be interesting for you to know that in late 1980s and early 1990s, I was very much involved with the environmental work in Africa, where this is sort of work where people that I worked with were trying to recover age-old systems of agroforestry, like these self-sustainable ecological systems that had been lost because the Englishmen and French told people for centuries that monoculture is good. And I saw loads and loads of occasions where people actually got rid of outside pesticides and fertilizers, industrial pesticides and fertilizers, and got back into the self-sustaining recycling systems where the pesticides and fertilizers came from the system itself, which naturally pissed off the international companies. Thank you.
Marco. You, after Soumyani, we'll have 10 minutes break for other natural call. I want you to give absolute freedom to speak your mind, so I'm going out of the room.
It's liberating.
Is there some sort of chain or bondage? I don't
know also. It's a joke. So my name is Marko Kulkala, and I've been on this journey with some of the friends here, myself since 98, 99. But collectively, like she mentioned, we work together in an organization called Coalition for Environment and Development from late 80s. And there was this contact with the Gandhian socialist groups in Delhi and Rajasthan from mid 80s, and just a little bit of background to our sort of movement. That in a way, in my work, maybe two main influences, or maybe three. One is the sort of solidarity movement, that the European movements. You can think it's quite long anti-slavery movements have been there, then decolonization, and then solidarity with sort of ordinary people on poverty and things like that. And in Finland there was a very vibrant phase when governments demanded that the development aid funding should be increased. There was this Finnish innovation percentage movement that the people donated 1% from their salary to some voluntary organization and then demanded the government to spend 1% of the GDP on development aid. And that was sort of the hope, with the hope that this would be good for the poor and for the environment. And it was very successful. A lot of people came on board and the aid funds were increased, but then eventually people realized that actually this aid is within a power structure which doesn't allow the funds to be spent so that it would be primarily benefit the poorest, but actually it became part of Finnish export promotion and then sort of, and actually most of the funds stayed in Finland or benefited the local elites. So as part of that, then the debate started of critique of not only development assistance but development as such. That some critical thinkers from Latin America and India started to influence our movements on the what is really development and this modernization critique from Kantian perspective, and sort of Ivan Illich, so non-party left, became part of the discourse. And then another important stream is the environmental movement, which I think links to this critique of modernization. In the process of industrialization and modernization, nature gets pretty much damaged. And but also it happens also from agriculture, new and in a more sort of irreversible way through industrialization. And so this is sort of maybe my main movement identity, and also the organization that I associated with, somehow linking this longing for equity globally, and then being critical of the sort of one stream modernization which the globe or the humanity is going through. So maybe just to mention some of the organizations, then this Coalition for Environment and Development is in place, and it's one of the founding members of the Siemenpuu Foundation, which brings us this time to India and around this room. That the Siemenpuu Foundation was set up by 15 environmental groups in Finland, because the Ministry for Foreign Affairs made available some funding for environmental work in particular. So this coalition is one of them, but then Friends of the Earth Finland, which is sort of so we can say social environmental organization. It's not just nature conservation, but protecting people and cultures and nature. So I was there as a one of the founding members of this, and maybe there's some few more where I'm associated. And the only organization where I take sort of key responsibility at the moment is this called Democracy Forum Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which we set up in 2003. In an attempt to institutionalize some of this North-South dialogue, which we have felt very important, and so to introduce the Sanskrit concept, and then we have this framework of various dimensions of democracy, ecological, social, political, cultural, and so on. So in this one, I'm founding member secretary and now the chairman. But on these other organizations, I'm sort of contributing here and there in some times when it's needed and useful. Otherwise, I'm doing freelance work as researcher and writer and organizer. And that's where I get my bread and butter. But anyhow, so here we are on this mission to write together with colleagues from SADET the self-reprisal report. So some small text will be there to take stock where
Soma Datta. I'm basically associated with one people science movement, Bharat Jan Vigyan Jatha, that is from last 20 years, from 91, when we started all over India on many issues which connects both people and the scientific backgrounds, etc. But over the last 18 to 19 years, I have also been involved in many people's movements, social movements, and trying to give a sort of whatever little input we can in terms of understanding, analysis, and also synthesis for alternatives, and also building up people's movements capabilities. And I work basically in 2-3 connected areas. One, all of us, as was mentioned, is the area of climate crisis and how to respond to that, how to understand that. And in this work, I have been doing work with at basically 4 levels. One is at the international level. There is and this is very important to understand. The primary discourse, the dominant discourse, is from the northern NGOs as of now. So, and there are a lot of problems in that because their understanding of the climate crisis is very different from what we understand in our areas in Himalayas, in coastal areas, in agriculture. So one of the work that I do is actively try to counter that and build up dialogue and discourse which reflects our realities and our understandings. So that work I do, I'm doing for the last 6-7 years, quite actively in the international climate justice sector. The other levels that I work with, as I said, one primary area now is working with social movements, whether it is anti-nuclear movement or anti-dam movements or movements against coal-fired power plants or others, and trying to help them wherever they need in terms of scientific analysis, in terms of developing alternatives, because this is one of the primary questions that people come up with whenever there is a movement saying no to this, no to nuclear, no to hydrogen. Then one of the primary questions people come up with is where from your energy, your jobs, your other things are coming from, where to come from. So developing that alternative, part of that is one work that I am involved in for the last 7-8 years, and I'm doing it I write a lot. I write books, I write booklets, I write articles, and I prepare magazines and world magazines kind of thing. So various forms I try to reach out. One through writing, another is a very large number of public meetings that I also address, whether it is nuclear issue or whether it is energy issue, whether it is climate issue. So these are areas that I am working, and also another level that we have been trying to actively engage, and I am personally engaged in, is also trying to influence wherever little political leadership we can have access to. Like in the last 6-7 years, I think, we have addressed at least 5-6 political parties, their MPs, their general secretaries on the climate issue,
Their
or
chief
climate
ministers.
issue, chief ministers,
Thanks
all
to
this
Ajay.
at the political level. And another large area, the work connected, where energy, water, climate crisis, I think Ajay will also be supplementing that. But as part of our collective work, is that we have been trying to see how the climate crisis has been used by both government and corporates to make opportunities for more profit and to counter that. And in that, one major work for the last couple of years, which I started with another person called Himanshu Thakkar, in both the national level and more importantly at the state levels, trying to open up the climate action plans, which are overarching plans, and trying to hold public discussions and trying to develop people's understanding how a climate action plan, which will be people friendly, which will be poor friendly, should come. So in that we have worked collectively with Ajay and we are all part of this Beyond Copenhagen coalition. But these are the 4 different levels. But apart from that, I also work in a very large scale with school science teachers, particularly higher secondary schools and early college teachers, in trying to build up their understanding, make them work with their children, with their students. And this I am doing for the last 19 years all over India. Every year I take probably some 7, 8, 10 workshops with school science teachers in all over India, particularly in areas which are apparently seen to be backward. apparently seem to be backward, like Bihar, UP, Madhya Pradesh, some in West Bengal, some in Odisha, couple of workshops. So these are the 4 or 5 different areas that I work in. And my basic focus is, though all of us are connected together with the desire for social change, one understanding is social change will not come through any one particular approach. So that is very important for me. That's why I also engage, apart from the social movements, which will be one main driver, the other segments of school teachers, school students, and the general public, in a sense that today we often neglect the urban middle class, which forms a lot of opinion in the media and in other areas. So apart from the other areas, we also try to engage a lot with these groups in public meetings and challenge them also in coming out of their own perceptions and also giving alternatives. These are the kind of things that I'm involved in.
I request Ajay ji and then Anil ji to go next to Soumya ji to introduce themselves. अजय जी, आप एग्रीकल्चर वही पूरा बियॉन्ड कोपेनहेगन में all our interests in it.
My name is Ajay Jha. I work with an organization called Public Advocacy Initiatives for Rights and Values in India. It's a small advocacy support group which works with grassroots organization and primarily in northern and central part of India. Thematically, we are more inclined to work on issues related to agriculture, food security, human rights, building understanding of organizations and stakeholders on human rights-based approach to development. Of late, we have been engaging, I would say, extensively on climate change and climate crisis-related issues, focused primarily on agriculture and food security, and also on climate justice. We are doing this as a part of a broader collective which is called Beyond Copenhagen, and it was formed in the run-up to Copenhagen. We named it like Beyond Copenhagen because we could, as everybody else, we could assume that the climate crisis issues that the Copenhagen is supposed to deliberate in greater details and come to some sort of, say, fabulous and appropriate and equitous climate regime would not be possible till Copenhagen only, and we'll have to work beyond that. So Beyond Copenhagen works on many levels on agriculture and food security issues. Our primary debate is that agriculture is not being given due consideration in climate change negotiations and also in climate change responses by the state. So at international level, while we resist the focus on mitigation, even in agriculture and how what kind of solutions are being offered in agricultural negotiations, we try to analyze it from the perspective of smallholders, farmers in developing countries, and we find that it's highly detrimental to the interests of smallholders, farmers in developing countries, including India. We have been engaging with COP, Conference of Parties of UNFCCC, and also in intersessionals. At the same time, we have been also engaging with other groups in South Asian countries to build a solidarity and a common understanding of what kind of challenges that agriculture and food security faces from climate change impacts, and how to insulate smallholders, farmers, and improve food security in developing countries in the times of climate change. Nationally also, we have been trying to engage with relevant policies on agriculture, whether it's about National Action Plan on climate change, or whether it's about agriculture, how agriculture is positioned and placed in the state action plans on climate change. That forms the core part of our work, but besides that, we also try to build and engage with farmers on improving their understanding on climate change impacts, and improving their own resilience to climate change. And we also engage with policymakers on issues of increasing investment in agriculture, bringing about land reforms, resisting the kind of challenges that those are being brought forth by new policies like Food Security Act, Biotechnology Regulatory Authority Act of India, or seeds bills, etc., etc. So that would be a brief overview of what we can talk about in greater details. We have few publications and updates which I hope will help you to understand our working activities. SAND has been an integral part of your Copenhagen network since beginning, and on so many occasions, besides the separate and individual work that these organizations are doing, the collective is a network of more than 40 organizations and networks throughout India. Most of them are placed in North and Central India, but we have partners from South India also, and we have tried to intervene wherever we can.
There are two more introductions. One I mentioned just passing as teammate of Babulalji in this Global Gandhi Forum, but he's also, I request him to go there so that you don't have to turn your necks. And I would request him to, the one part which has not been introduced, Subhash Lomteji, Babulal Sharma, myself and Anil Mishra, we have also worked for the SEDED concerns in a space called Social Forum, World Social Forum, for which Yarna and Marco gave in 2004 3 months with their young child. 3 months old? 4 months.
4 months.
4-month-old child. So that was.
That was 12 months, but we spent 4 months.
Yeah. So 4 months, okay, not 3 months. Child was 12 months, which is for Europeans to take that kind of risk in a southern country was really remarkable, but we are discussing only Indians. So Anil Mishra has been very critical in that process, said its role and space, and while in WSF we use the hat VK, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, because that has greater legitimacy. VK was made member of the International Council of WSF, and of late Uddhav Pyakurel is giving lot of time to ensure our presence and our issues. And then after Anilji will be our informal convener of disaster cell of disaster mitigation, not disaster creating cell of SEDED, Atal Bihari Sharma. He is also again 30 plus years associate with us, but with SEDED he is only interested in the disaster, and he was instrumental in getting a huge aid to Pakistani, the same gentleman who came yesterday, Karamat Ali. So his organization was helped by Atal in a big way. In addition to the help to various organizations in Pakistan, and it's after his contribution to various organizations, it was possible for another leading NGO to formally declare that they will host the SEDED chapter in Pakistan, and their coordinator is reaching tomorrow Kathmandu for the SEDED work in Kathmandu. Anilji.
I think I have already been introduced by Vijay Pratapji. Basically, I'm teaching in Delhi University, political science in a college, and then I've been active as a socialist activist for a very long time, more than 20-25 years in Delhi. And we have been organizing this global Gandhi Global Forum, and we have been organizing various interactive sessions with various sections of the people. I'm basically involved in various social movements, and also my effort is to build an ideology at a macro level. Some friends have just mentioned here that social change needs, there are various ways to social change, and we cannot think that one way will bring about social change. I do agree with this, but I still feel that all the ways of social change which we're discussing, from climate to politics, but there should be an effort to concretize the whole issue and to think about in terms of an ideology which will bring about the social change which has not been brought about or failed of Marxist, after the collapse of Marxist ideology or socialist ideology and so on. So what I think that we are having a crisis of ideology right now, and we are approaching various issues on the basis of issue based and have not been able to develop a kind of comprehensive strategy or ideology about things. And perhaps this is one of the most critical phase of the entire thinking of the world which is going on. So this is one area in which I think that all the activists which are engaged in addressing various problems in different ways should try to sincerely try to develop this kind of thing. And in this context, I think Gandhian prescriptions for various things which we are facing today will be one area, and which is going to be helpful for developing that kind of, around which we can develop this kind of thinking. And in this, I have interacted with various sections of the society, teachers, writers, public opinion makers, theatre persons, because despite all those things and those who are thinking in various areas alike, we have not been able to bring them together. Because if you go to some kind of seminars and different kinds of workshops, you will find the same voice is being raised by them, but they have not been interacting with each other. And so there is a complete gap between the activists on the one hand and those who are engaged in different kinds of exercise on the other. So therefore, I think it's the need of the hour to broaden our entire discourse and dialogue, and to reach as many people as possible without thinking about it. And I'm sure that in a country like India and in the other part of the world, if this is being spread over, then after that I think we can develop a power, and we will be able to organize people with the power of intervention. Because unless we develop a power of that kind of, some kind of intervention, I don't think we are going to make a dent in the process of the social change about which we are talking and thinking. One of my friends has mentioned so many areas in which he is working. It is a great pleasure great thing to know that one person is working in so many areas. And in the way, there are a lot of people who are working in so many areas. But the power of intervention is very limited. So I think that there should be some exercise very sincerely how to develop a dialogue among various groups and people without any preconceived notion, and to go forward. And in this direction, I think we should exercise our thing. I have been working in various institutions like Ryan Prasad Academy, JP Foundation for Asian Democracy, in which we have been trying to get people together and do. I think it is a long process, but we should move in the direction. I am not an activist in that sense of the term, but I am keeping in touch with all the movements and as an observer, I find.
Catalyst. Those हैं कुछ भी?
You have already introduced
Atalji thinks his introduction has been given and that's enough. Okay. So, we कोई रह तो नहीं गया? Everybody has introduced. So, we have 10 minutes break and then we begin with Ajayji's presentation and then Sridhar. Huh?
After that, it will be.
हाँ अजय हाँ so as we resume
What time is the lunch available?
1:30 क्या बोले
We have begun quite late.
yeah so now maximum 10 minutes break. Shilpa wanted a break. Maybe 5 minutes is enough. People want to go to loo, drink water.
5 minutes will do.
Will do?
2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Polluting the air. No, only couple of.
Not the air, sir.
Cigarette की बात कर रहे हो यार. 2-4 लोग ही पीते होंगे यहाँ के उसमें.
हमारे चौधरी स्वामी
हुक्का फूकने गए तो
Will you be there? Yeah, just now.
Second.
नहीं
I agree to last.
Oh, okay.
नहीं
Actually, during the Jatra,
That just to be,
and came back.
Uh,
Something more is planned. This postal Jatra by boat. Mobilize the fishing villages. That's being planned. Both times what we did, we moved through the land and raised the villages and talked to people and the cities. We addressed around, I think 12 public meetings in cities and